What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to Nompton. My name is Splattercat, and we are playing Gnomoria again today, where we finally found iron. Oh my god, and there's so much iron. We're just running around all over the place right now, getting ourselves fistfuls of the stuff, because I would really have to hate spending a lot more time excavating. It is true. We got ourselves a little bit of freebie gold right there, which is fun, so later on we'll make some gold bars or something like that. Maybe make a golden necklace with some sapphires or emeralds or something of that nature in it, but for now, what I'd really like to make sure that I do is if we can get ourselves 200 to 300 iron, I think we'll be pretty much self-sufficient on it for the next, at least, you know, I mean, for the foreseeable future for our military anyways, that'll cover us. And then on the other side, what we want to make sure of is that we want to have enough so we can do decorative stuff in the future. If we wanted to make a building all out of iron, or if we ended up wanting to make like guns out of iron and things like that, all things to think about. This is going to be a really long, arduous process down here because they are using bronze pickaxes. Therefore, it's going to take them forever to get all this iron out of the walls. That's okay. We're not going to be spending any iron on... Oh, I don't know. I should probably deconstruct that right now. Let me see it. I bet the light radius is good enough over here. I'm going to deconstruct that torch. And as soon as that's done, let's go back up to the surface level and make sure that things are running okay up here. So everything's looking alright. They still haven't built a fence, weirdly enough, and I think that's because they've been stuck up using... What just happened? I felt like it teleported me to a different location right there. We're going to make a secondary pasture, by the way, where all of the yaks that go in are going to get butchered. And so we'll put it right here, maybe? No, we'll make it a little bit thinner. There we go. And in fact, we'll call that the yak pasture. That's going to have 7 animals in it. And what we'll do is we will get rid of this one right here. And then we're also going to go to our build menu. We'll go here and we're going to put in a trough on this side. The animals go and feed themselves. I know a couple people have raised the question that, like, I haven't been putting troughs inside the pastures. The animals will go down, and you see all this wheat straw sitting right here? It's going away because the animals are just coming out and eating it straight out of the fields because nobody's hauled it anyways. So everything should be okay right there. There haven't been any invasions in between episodes. I played for about a day. We're on the 10th day of winter, as you can see up there. Hopefully it stays uneventful. I am really hoping that nothing bad happens. I had wanted to make a mushroom crop down in here, but it's not allowing me to. I told them to go do it, and it doesn't appear to be occurring, so I don't know. It might be largely related to the fact that, I mean, all the other planting is done, so my farmers are pretty much idle right now. There's something missing, I'm betting, that you need in order to make this from dirt into mud, and I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. Go to our terrain menu and see if maybe we can replace a floor with, like, mud or anything. A thatched floor. Weird. Didn't even know that was a thing. An engraved water? A water engraved floor. That's weird. So is that just like water that's engraved and then there's water inside the engraving so that it looks kind of blue? It's interesting. Doesn't require anything other than blocks, so who even knows anymore? I am going to come up in here and let's get the first couple layers laid down for our hobbit house. And so I'm going to build terrain. And we'll call it a block wall, I guess, so that it matches with everything else. Or maybe a log wall. A log wall doesn't sound so bad. Let's go log walls on this one. I know we don't have, like, a ton of materials at the moment in order to make this work, but we can try it out, and it might look kind of nice. And I don't think it's going to take us any effort. That looks more like a stack of... That's not really what I was going for here. I was going for more like an Abe Lincoln hut, and that does not look the way that I wanted it to. It's more like a palisade wall, I think, is the way that they've got it constructed. And that's cool, that's fine. I just wasn't aware of what the graphic looked like, so I think that leaves me... I'm willing to bet that these jobs actually are no longer in the queue anymore, and that's why they're not getting done. They're on the page still, but the AI is no longer making notice of them. So let's go and pine plank this thing out. And my sincerest guess is that it's just no longer on the docket any further. And what we should see here are a bunch of guys running off to make us some pine planks. Yeah, there it is right there. And so that should actually use up a bit more of our time, unless we're out of pine. That could be the other problem, is that we could very well be out of pine right now and only sitting on a bunch of birch. So let me have a look here. Well, that's the problem. Never mind. Okay, so we're sitting on a lack of pine. I don't really want to deforest anything either. So maybe I'll just make this out of birch. So let's deconstruct that right there. We'll deconstruct all of this. And we'll cancel this right here. There we go. And so once that's all out of the way, we'll think about it once spring comes in and we're growing trees again. I suppose right now may not be. This might be a good time to actually build that big workhouse that I was talking about where everybody can do the various jobs that they need to have done. I may make a tower of sorts to get it kind of cool looking. I don't know. There's not a lot of open space to build a tower right now, but I feel as though I could presumably make it work. Let's start on it. Let's play with it a little bit and we'll see what we can come up with. So I'm going to build a terrain wall right here, and we're going to call it a block wall. And I don't know what a decorative stone wall looks like. Let's start with a chiseled stone wall. And to make everything look nice, we will treat this as a... Let's go 7. And from there, what I'd like to see... Oh, that looks nice. I think that's going to turn out okay. That actually looks gorgeous. Hopefully, I actually said marble. Let me make sure that I said marble when I did that because I forget to select all the time. I may have just said any stone block, and we want marble blocks specifically to make this work. And so I think what I want to do now is just sort of go like so. And then on that side we'll go 7. And this is going to be a big workman's tower. Basically all of our crafting areas are going to be in here. And I do think this has the potential to look really, really cool. I may slide that wall back by 1 along with... Well, maybe not. I don't know. I don't really have the space to make this work the way that I want it to. So this may have to go away, this entire thing. I know I said we were going to build over various things, but actually... It might work if I slid it back up against the wall and came one this way. I'm not very good at this, by the way, guys. Not very good at this. So, this may take trial and error. When I used to do towns, I used to do practice runs before I would actually record the episode to figure out how I wanted to build something. And then from there, I'd be like, okay, so today we're going to be sitting around building this thingy. We finally ran out of grain, which means we're not going to be producing bread anymore. That's perfectly cool. We've got more than enough food to keep us going throughout the remainder of winter. And we have yet another market over here as well. So let's go ahead. What I like to do with the markets is I like to stack up all of the valuable things that I have. So let's go all the way down to where our necklaces are stored. There it is. And we've got about 2,400 in our credit line right now. And so I'm just going to buy more logs. We'll go apple, we'll go pine. We'll take everything that we can get out of this guy. Just all the useful stuff that's laying around. Copper ore, malachite, tin, silver. No, if he had himself some iron, I'd probably buy it, but since he's got no iron, I don't think I'm going to go for it. We'll also buy all of his strawberries, all of his grapes, all of his apples. We will take all of his wheat grains, all of his strawberries. Great, there we go. I do wish that you built up a rapport with the people that you bought from over time, so basically your faction would go up with them as you bought stuff from them, and as you had a beneficial trade relationship, because that's how these things work in real life. Let's go ahead. A country that you trade with is less likely to blow you up because they have a lot of money on the line. Is that going to take me over? That's going to take me over. I got greedy. I wanted the malachite. It's worth 20 a pop, and we are up by... So I think if I lower this by maybe 10, we should be good here. Yeah, and that's going to get us exactly where we want to be. And so there it is. Another good trade between us and our neighbors at the Rag Kingdom. Very, very happy about it. Every single time I go through and I orchestrate a trade with the Rag Kingdom, I'm always pretty happy about it. So anyways, let's try this one more time, and we're going to say that we want to build... Let me go down to the bottom, make sure that everything is torched there right now. I don't want a zombie outbreak. That's the other thing, is while we're doing this, on the 65, there could be actual dark areas kind of hiding out in corners and doing all kinds of scary stuff. Did I mess up right there? I messed up right there. Let's place a wall right there of any material. It doesn't matter. We'll just drop one right there because that's all we can do at the moment, and I want to make sure that we don't end up getting eaten by things crawling up out of the darkness. I don't see a bunch of ramps or anything. I don't think they can get at us from right there. Yeah, the best they could do is they can't, there's no ramp right here. If there's a ramp in that corner, then I'd be actually a lot more worried than I am right now. The other thing that I want to do is now that my miners are done, God, it's so much different how fast they are at mining just regular wall squares versus mining iron. It's crazy. They blaze that stuff out so quickly. It's sort of boggling. So we want to look out for blind spots over here, obviously. Let's go back up to, once that gets built, it looks like we've actually got a light radius that's going to keep us covered for the remainder of this area, so I think we'll be alright here. Okay, so that's going to work out in our favor. We also want to see what we can mine out this way without hitting any tunnels, so we're just going to try and go out like so, maybe. I'm willing to bet that this vein probably runs most of this. If this is it right here, is this iron? It's coal. Anyways, if it was iron, I would say that it probably runs the distance over here. And it may go down to the next layer, too, while we're on the subject. These things tend to run in 3D, yeah, so they run in 3 dimensions. That's one of the things I do like about the game, is realistically the ore veins run in 3 dimensions, rather than just 2, as they do in some games. So let me go ahead and we're going to mine all these walls out, too. I get addicted to mining. I don't know what it is about mining, but I think that's the same reason other people like games that have a lot of mining. It's because it's strangely, I bet it's got some kind of dopamine release that goes along with it. They did a study on MMOs that showed that you got a dopamine release in your brain whenever you got a new piece of gear or anything, and I bet it's the same thing here. I bet it's the same thing here. Alright, and so now that we're back up on the first floor and we're sure that there's no light radii being violated at the moment, just nasty, people getting all up in that light radius, I think that we're at least safe for a moment to go back to our chiseled stone walls here. Go marble blocks. And instead we're going to start a little bit further off to the side and also lined up against the wall this time. So we'll go 7 and then 1, 2, 3 and then a 7z's. And 1, 2, 3, and did we make it? We did, and then a 7z's. And just to make sure that I do, I will end that right there. Furthermore, we will go back down to our build menu. We'll say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then there we are. A semicircular looking tower that will work for all intents and purposes in getting the job done that we're looking to have done. And so once that gets done, we'll replace all the flooring in here. And this is going to be the start of our big work tower. I don't know how high up this thing's going to go. The first layer, I would love to get some lava. If we take a look at the lower levels, we've made it down to the lava floors. I don't really know how we transport lava right now. I bet we probably transport it in buckets or something of that kind. It would be really cool, though, to have lava levels in here if we decide to make one level the forge, one level the woodworkery, whatever you want to call it. It would be really cool to have it set up like that. Might make the whole thing look a little bit more spiffy. Actually, you know what I should do is let's take this wall out right here and we'll fill this one in because that one's facing the hill in an odd way and I don't like it. It makes me sad. So what we'll do is we will go to our build menu one last time. Find our chiseled wall right there. Go down to the proper layer, lock that on in, and there we go. I think that's going to look a little bit better. And then my final concern as to all this would be first and foremost ensuring that the roads run the right way. So let's go ahead and replace floors around here with stone floors made of marble, as we have been throughout the course of this entire series. And I would actually prefer, are there 2 walls right now? There's 1. Okay, so we'll drag that on down this way. Have that go out like so. And there it is, the entranceway to our city. And so we'll have this road just kind of run the circumference of this outer courtyard area. I don't really know the extent to which I'm going to use it yet, but we'll keep it out there just in case. It tends to get laid down really, really quickly, and we've got a little bit of extra time on our hands because somebody's got to go back and chisel some stone for us. While we're on the subject, I'm going to go to our metalworking location. There's no hauling occurring right now either, which is a little terrifying. That's okay, though. We'll take the bronze bars off the list. And in the crafting of bars, We have 97 iron ore right now. Okay. So that's going to lead us up to having, I believe, 48 iron. So we definitely need to do a little bit more work on the minus 65. Let's head back down there now and make sure that we've got our heads on straight with regards to the areas that we are plumbing, the depths to which we are going to get this stuff out of the walls. Throw another torch in right there, right along the edge of the light radius to make sure that we don't get any nasty spawns on us. It looks like the iron is going to run one direction or the other. My estimation would be that it's going to run this way and off the map. I don't know that for certain, but seeing as it doesn't crop out on this side of the gap, it doesn't cross out on right here, but it does right here, but it ends. My guess is that it veers off in this direction and then off the map, which is bad, actually. I would prefer for this to curve a little bit more severely this way. I mean, we do see it right here, so I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Let's see what we can mine right here. And let's just keep that thing going. And where is that tunnel at that we were worried about that wouldn't allow us to mine? It's just right there. Okay, so let's go back by one. Oh, nope, it goes out a little bit further. That still works out in our favor, and so we'll call it like that right there. If I expose anything, I'll try and build a wall really, really rapidly to ensure that nothing terrible happens. I don't know if I should build some tools out of iron right now to make this go a little bit more rapidly so we don't spend so much time sitting around waiting on things to get mined out, or if I should just focus on my above ground endeavors. But in any case, I think we should probably break off the episode, not right this second, but within the next couple minutes, because basically not a whole lot. We have so many jobs queued up right now that we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of interesting things happening. All of that is being placed. We're waiting on the next year to crop over. In fact, it's almost midnight, which means that we'll be about set for another invasion, which will be disappointing. I would also love to build a alarm bell in here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll build an alarm bell at the end, just in case. I mean, I can't promise that we won't catch an invasion really, really soon that's going to cause us major issues. But for now, I'm kind of looking at the layout. If you're wondering why I trailed off and I'm not speaking any further, it's because I'm looking at the layout of the base and trying to figure out what we can do with it. So this tower right here should be able to cover most of our work needs. What would be really fun is if I could build another one over here and then above ground have them connect via a tunnel. How badass would that be? That would be really, really sweet if I could get that to work. A goblin has been spotted, and so we are off to war one more time. It looks like we're going to get our invasion bright and early here. I don't think we're going to run into any problems, though. I think we should be able to wipe out the goblins fairly easy. With regards to our weaponized skill, I don't even think the goblins compare. Let's look at this guy. They're ultimately... Oh, that's Clobbles. Let's look at their guy then who has the most gear. And yeah, his maximum skill is 27 versus, let's say, Mr. Cuddlesworth, who's sitting at 58 right now, who's a veritable killing machine. There are very few things about war. He's basically got Sun Tzu tattooed on his ass, and he's ready to roll. 2 goblins down. One guy is beating a guy to death with a loaf of bread, which is all kinds of crazy. Or is he holding a piece of our bread? No. Mr. Cuddlesworth jumped into the battle using a... Wait, what is he wielding right now? He's wielding a loaf of bread and a worn copper sword. Did his weapon break? Is that what happened? It's always possible that his weapon broke. Let's go ahead and I'm going to make a lead warhammer in here. Let's make ourselves... How many is it going to take us? Let me quantify this in my head at the weaponsmith. So in order to make a hammer, we're going to need 5 bars of lead. Okay. I'm sorry, we're going to need 8. 8. Okay, so let's make 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There it is, and we'll get those done as soon as they're available. I may cut off some of the mining jobs down here and try and do them in between episodes. And then just kind of give you a recap of what we've accomplished in the various caves that we've been fiddling around with. I'm going to do my best to start dropping torches along the back wall here. He's digging in a weird order. So as I expected, it's running off the map right there, which... I mean, there is the possibility that it comes from this direction, then it runs down this way, which actually might be the case. No, that's coal. What about this right here? Coal. Okay, never mind. I think I'm just doubting myself at this point. Is that iron right there? What is that? Lead? Okay. I think I already checked that out earlier. It may be worth looking later on once we've got... There's a lot of gold right there. We may tap out this layer too, just to see what's in here. It almost always runs in 3 dimensions. If it's not above us, it's definitely below us. I can almost promise you that. 0 nomads have arrived. That means our net value hasn't gone enough to entice anybody to come join us. It's all good. Our food stocks, our drink stocks, and everything else are so high at the moment that whatever. We don't need extra labor. The only thing I'm worried about is our guard forces. I think he may be digging by himself now that I've given off all these other jobs, like people making little blocks and everything else. Yes, no. I was gonna say, we've gotta have somebody over here working on something. Appears as though a lot of my miners are sleeping though too, and the harvest is already cropped in on the first day. That's good for us, and it's gonna make our lives a little bit easier. I should also probably go down to the butcher table and assign the remainder of these goblins to be chopped into little manageable bits that we can pop into our mouth. Goblin bits, the most delightful treat in all of Gnomoria. They take a little bit of honey. What they do is they take the goblin meat, they braise it slightly, they take it, they fry it in honey batter right there, and then you put it on a sandwich and voila. The whole thing is just delicious. There's no way around it. I would eat it personally, even knowing that it's a piece of another sentient being. I'd be like, well, it's gonna be like poplars. It's one of those things where they're so delicious that you just have to do it anyways. Pop a poplar in your mouth. That's one of my favorite jingles that they ever did in Futurama, because it's one of my favorite things to whistle. I love whistling that tune around people. They're like, wow, you can whistle really fast. I'm like, yep, runs in the family. Everybody in my family, like master whistlers. It's the weirdest thing. It's because from a young age, everybody in my family, it's just like the family saying that you whistle while you work. If you're doing a job that you absolutely hate, you just whistle while you do it. And it actually holds pretty true. It holds pretty true that if you whistle while you work, it seems like the day goes quicker, although an iPod has sort of ruined my whistling capacity now while I work. For those of you out there who are just like, yeah, a Zune. There you go. That'll make you feel better if you don't have one. I had a Zune for a while. I was one of those guys that was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go with the alternative to the mainstream, and then I ended up with this just worthless piece of machinery. Do they even have Zunes anymore? Do they even make those? I don't know, but anyways, it seems like a good spot to break off the episode. I'm gonna finish up the mining on my own time, see how much iron we end up with. I'm hoping that we can end up with 200 or 300 by the end of this whole excursion. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle for another episode of Gnomoria. I will see you guys tomorrow for the next episode. Hi to everybody. Have a great day.